And now I'm really pleased to welcome up here, again, another person who has supported innovation in the past as well. So Sarah Munby, who is Permanent Secretary for the Department of Science, Innovation and Technology. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to start where Kat finished with, this is a really exciting time for innovation in government. For those of you who work in digital and data, I think this is the most exciting moment we've had for really quite some time. And that's because we've got a Prime Minister and a Cabinet who are telling us that the digital and data-led transformation of the state to really capitalize not just on the technologies of yesterday and today, where we still have work to do, but also on the technologies of tomorrow and putting ourselves at the forefront of the implementation of AI. They are saying that that is a critical priority for the UK state. And that, right there, is an enormous opportunity for everybody in this room, and I think is incredibly exciting. And so I've had an amazing time since the election with DSIT taking on additional responsibilities, as Kat was saying, for coordinating work on digital and data and technology across government. And so what did I take away from this period? What have I learned? First thing is, we have got absolutely incredible people, many of whom are sitting in this room today. It has just been an absolute delight to get to know teams who I didn't know before. And that's true of civil servants. It's also true if we've got brilliant suppliers working right across the system. And again, many of you are here today. So the foundations are incredible. But, and there is a really, really substantial but here. It is really concerning, because when we began this process, working with the Secretary of State, by wanting to do a fact-based review of where we stand as a collective on digital and data, the results, which I don't think will be a kind of new or surprising to anyone in this room, just aren't where we want them to be. You know, our processes are under-digitized. About half are digitized, about half aren't. Our data is fragmented and underused. Public satisfaction with our digital services is falling, not rising, falling by about 10 percentage points over the last decade. So even despite an incredible team, we are not delivering in the way that we want to. And so I thought the question I would try to start unpicking a bit today is, what have we learned about why that is? Because it's definitely not a lack of brilliant, talented people in this room, and it's definitely not a lack of will and excitement and drive to serve. So let me throw out what we think we've learned about what some of the root causes are of where we are, and some challenges to all of you and all of us about how we might make sure we address those root causes, so that this moment of excitement, this huge opportunity that's in front of us, is really converted, not just into a kind of immediate moment of change, but a long-term a picture of a transformed system and a transformed state. That is what we're trying to get to. So what would that take? So the first obstacle I wanted to start with is, notwithstanding what I've said about the incredible talented colleagues we have in government, we have a really big challenge with people and talent. There are, notwithstanding the crowded room, there are way too few of you. We're over 5% of civil servants being digital and data professionals, and the Prime Minister's talked about getting us to 10% by the end of the decade. And that number's based on benchmarks. Where should we be if we look at comparable organizations? And we know that today, of what we spend collectively across the public sector on digital and data, only about a fifth of that is going on permanent staff. Much of it is going on external spend. Some of that is utterly brilliant, but some of it is substituting for people who we should have inside the tent in the civil service. Now, we're doing lots of things to try to address that, working with CAT's teams on the people agenda more broadly as well. So we're expanding our tech track apprentices program. We're introducing new training to help existing digital and data professionals upskill into AI. We're looking at how we help people outside the digital and data profession convert into that. But if we're going to solve this problem, it is going to also require the efforts of every single person in this room as well, whether you're a civil servant in the UK, internationally, or you work in industry. And it's not just about bringing more people into the profession and attracting more wonderful people to work on digital and data in government. It's also really clear that we have a leadership challenge more broadly. And this is one that's, addressed to people like me and people like Kat and our colleagues. We have historically not done enough to put digital at the top table in leadership terms. Our leaders, although wonderfully diverse in lots of ways, and I just must say, it's just great to have three women kicking off a technology-oriented conference this morning. It's absolutely fantastic. But we're not diverse in some of the ways that really matter. We have too many colleagues who've come up from a particular kind of background sitting at the top of our organizations, and not enough people who have enough experience in transformative change and technology-driven change. And we need to help, right? That is not going to change immediately overnight. But we all need to be sponsoring people who aren't currently digital and data experts, but who are brilliant civil servants and brilliant leaders. And we need to help them come on this journey. So I really want everybody in this room today, if you're not already, to leave and think of yourself as a missionary and an evangelist for this work. That, my challenge that I'd like to lay down to everyone here and everyone who's currently in the digital and data professions across government, everyone who sees themselves as an innovator in government, who are you bringing in and who are you bringing on? We have a huge collective talent challenge, and we are going to have to go after it collectively, and lots of individual actions will help us get to where we need to be, in combination with serious effort and programs from not just the centre, but from every department. So a real job of work to do on people, and one that I hope for those of you who are already in government will be a wonderful, exciting and developmental opportunity. But we need not just to double down on who we have, we need to expand very significantly. The second challenge is more about structure. So one of the things we did is put together a kind of a diagnostic of where we stand. It's kind of a formal document, civil service style, obviously. And there's a wonderful sentence in there which says, fragmentation is a feature of our system. And when you look at almost any aspect of our innovation agenda, we are highly fragmented across the public sector. We buy in a really fragmented way. We have many, many, many contracts that are basically for the same thing, and we leave money on the table for the taxpayer because of that. And we've begun working really, really closely with the commercial function in really trying to address that. And we've got some brilliant partnerships on the stocks, but we need to go much further. But it's not just that. We're fragmented for the user, for the citizen, who has to navigate their way between all sorts of different services if they want to manage a long-term health condition or a disability, for example. We have over 40 different ways of proving your identity to government for different kinds of services. And what we're generating through fragmentation, which is deeply structural in our system, and of course goes far beyond digital, right? The whole point of mission-based government, which Kat was talking about, is about trying to work as one to solve problems for the citizen, not work as individual silos or individual teams or departments. There is a really big opportunity from operating together, but it's hard because often our own way of doing the thing is the most attractive. We've been going through a tiny example as part of the machinery of government changes this year. We've been going through working on re-platforming so that everyone across the organisation can be on the same fundamental IT platform. And I can tell you, the people who are involved in that journey, who've had to change, don't necessarily find it particularly appealing. Because the thing that you're used to, the way you like to do things locally, the thing that's optimized for your customer and your leadership is often really great. But when we all do that individually, what we end up with collectively is a fragmented system that is complex for the citizen, at high cost for the taxpayer, and really difficult to maintain and understand and navigate. So my second challenge to everybody in this room is, are you as good at being a follower as you are good at being a leader? It is not always about striking out on an individual path. Sometimes it is about finding the places where we can operate together and being prepared to do things one way, consistently, designed around the citizen. The third challenge is about our processes. And we know that in a number of different ways, we are challenged in how we set up and spend our money. And if you read the State of Digital report, which if you haven't, I highly recommend. Personally, I think it's a banger. I mean, others might disagree, but it talks about how we fund digital work, data work, and this actually applies to innovation work in general as well, I think. And we're really actually not bad at, okay, we're going to fund the upfront thing. You know, write your business case, classic kind of civil service process. Write your business case, get your money, do your work, do your investment. But that isn't really how modern digital investment actually works. What we're looking for is investing in something that can evolve, iterate, improve, and grow over time. It's probably, by the way, not capital funding, it's resource funding, something that can be difficult to lay your hands on. And what matters is the ongoing process of improving that system over time. And of course, one of the reasons we have such a big challenge with legacy IT across the public sector is underinvestment over time. But another reason is because our systems and sometimes our ways of thinking and our culture draw us towards novelty and getting funding for the next new program that will be added onto the big, complex castle of building blocks that we already have. And so the question I want us to ask ourselves collectively, all of us, more, is, you know, where are we simplifying the castle as well as kind of building new turrets upon it? So the thing I keep reflecting on, somebody said this to me and it's really struck with me, you know, those sentences that stick in your mind. The challenge, I think, for all of us is, where are we building tomorrow's legacy technology today? Because we're falling into the approach of setting something up with kind of excitement and enthusiasm and maybe a bit of money, but not setting it up to be long-term, sustainable, improvable over time. Now, I should say I don't think any of those challenges are easy, and I also don't think that any one person in this room, including me and including Kat, can, by thinking about those issues, sort of address this problem alone. We're going to need lots of change at system level, at whole of the civil service level, and some of it at whole of public sector level as well. But I do think that the actions of every one of us really make a difference. So who are you bringing in and who are you bringing on? Where are you building tomorrow's legacy technology today? And are you putting as much emphasis on being an amazing follower and joining in with collective simplification as you are on being a leader and an independent innovator? Those are the thoughts I would like to seep across the system so that we can have not just some fantastic, important programs run centrally, but far more impactfully, a change that's driven by the behavior and actions of every single one of us right across not just this room, not just the civil service and the public sector, but actually the whole UK technology community, because that's what's going to drive better results for people right across the country. Thank you.